Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Hey, it's Wayne with HaveToFlip.com. Not a bad day today. So, what's going on? Getting stuff packed, not too bad of a day. We got orders on all accounts, which is great. That's how I want it to flow all the time. Obviously, I'm not at a job today, so I haven't heard back from the gentleman or the other account that I was supposed to hear back by the end of the day or end of the week. So I don't know. Next week's gonna be another week, so another set of people we're gonna reach out to and see what we can do. But that's not why I'm excited. So I told you guys yesterday how I was going to switch some processes around, and we're going to try to simplify a couple processes to try to be able to process more faster. I mean, everybody wants to be able to process as much as they can, as fast as they can. That's how you make money. The faster I can get it out there, the faster I can sell it. The faster I can bring more items in to sell them. So I'm super pumped of how this has worked. I actually have 2 totes already to my wife that I am going to draw back, and I'm going to do the processes that I missed and then hand them back to her. So the processes normally had a 4 process rotation. Me, my wife, back to me, back to my wife. I simplified the 2 between the 2 of us. Doesn't sound like a lot because the same amount of time is being taken for all those processes, other than it took 4 days before. I would do one day, my wife would do the next day, it would come back to me, I would do that day, and then it would have to go back to my wife, and then she would do it because she works opposite shifts is what I do. So she works like a night shift. So it would really take 4 days for the same process. So I started last night. I explained it to her yesterday. She sounded pretty pumped about it. Wanted to try it out. So we tried it out last night and flawless. She loved it. She said it was a lot faster on her end, which is crazy because it's really not that much savings time-wise for me. But she doesn't have to fill out the sheet. And when she writes the actual draft, she actually has the product there with her that she could actually refer to. Now, the only thing that this is going to hinder is that we used to be able to take those sheets anywhere we went, and we could work on them anywhere we were. So we could backlog a bunch of them for vacation. We could take them on vacation with us, and then we had physical listings with us without the items that we could do if we wanted to. Now that'll go away because everything's tagged with the original item with it. So but we haven't done that in probably 2 years. It was when we first started, we would take a folder with us everywhere. She would take it to work with her, and on her breaks she would jump into those and start working on those, which really helped us throw it into high gear right away. I mean, it wasn't but a few months and we had over 2,000 items out there. So I mean, it was probably 1,000. But we jumped into it pretty heavily, pretty fast. So now that we got a constant 2,000 or 3,000 items out there, just flowing in those 50, 60, 70 items is what we've been doing. But anything that we can pump out and get out faster will be awesome. Because I want to change the way we buy, I can buy closer to my cutoff for listing. So I've created a schedule of each category and when that item should be, all those items should be placed in to start for the ramp up of the sale. And I want the majority of everything I have listed here, and I can list until it peaks, and I don't want to focus on that item anymore until it gnaws out the next set. And then that gives me time to focus on all the other categories. And now I've just done that right now for clothing, men's clothing, women's clothing, and eventually I want to break out into the hard goods, and I want to make sure I have a set calendar for hard goods so that I know more when I need to work on certain items. And it's more to know when I can have the majority of it in at the beginning instead of working my tail off trying to add in items during the peak and incline of that category, so that I can work more efficiently. But what's really nice with cutting out 2 days of processing is I'm not going to hesitate to bring in those items closer to the top of the peak, because I know it's only going to take 2 days to get them back out. And that doesn't mean it's not going to sell on the downhill, but I want to be focusing on what's coming up next so that I have the majority of the next influx out there, so that each time I'm getting that pay, that front end pay off each one of those in that set category, if that makes sense whatsoever. So if not, let me know. I'll try to elaborate it a little bit better. But every category has its high and its low. I want to put everything I can during the high, everything I can during that low period, so that it's out there and ready, so when it starts inclining, I can just put pieces out that I'm collecting, that I pick up until it hits that top. And then once it hits that top, I know it's on the downhill. I could be focusing on another category that's just starting to go up or is going up still, and I'm not wasting time on stuff that is going out of season or just off the radar. So it's definitely going to be part of more of my new buying structure that I'm going to create. And one thing that I haven't done that I really want to do is I want to build sheet processes for every process that I do. For me, more than anything, so that I have guidelines. I know how I function. My wife kind of knows how I function. My mom knows kind of how I function because she's with us. But I want to be able to refer back to it because it's so easy to wander off of your processes. So I really want to hammer them down and know that this is how we're going to do it, and then it gives me an opportunity to always better it. So that way I have something set in stone, and then we can modify it from there. And that is something I want to do here real soon. And like one of the first things I want to do is like a buying guide for me, so that when we're out, I know what we're looking for, when we're looking for it, and what we're actually going to spend on these items. I'm doing them all the way down to percentages, so I want to be able to focus on what is peaking and what is coming in. And I think I'm going to do that on a quarterly basis. So I'll have 4 sets of a buying guide that I will use for first, second, third, and fourth period. And some of it is definitely going to change because you have that null in summer for clothing. The clothing almost stops during summer. So I want to make sure that I have something to fill that void there as well. This is stuff that probably everybody knows and everybody was doing, or everybody has experimented with enough to know. I've dabbled in hard goods a little bit, so I really don't have the volume in hard goods to really see where the seasonal change is. Now with clothes, I know exactly where it is, because that's what I've dealt with, you know, and have been dealing with and still will deal with. But I definitely want to get something on paper that's solid, that any of my family members, my wife and me, we can pick up and be able to do exactly what we need to do by just reading the paper. It sounds absolutely ridiculous for somebody who works by themselves. That's just them, and you know, and you're not a huge corporation. But it gives me accountability for that job. So when I'm functioning as the buyer in my company, I have set rules and guidelines that I need to follow for me, that I will prove to work. Because what I've been doing, just buying bulk all the time, just in, whatever, has got me in a position where it's not working. So I either need to modify that by bringing in, pulling out the good, selling off that isn't, instead of listing it, and just get rid of it. Or I need to make sure that I do it up front and buy the correct stuff, that everybody tells you that you got to buy the right stuff. So I was trying to do more of a volume game, because I knew I wanted something like this, and I knew I was going to get something like this that could hold tens of thousands of items. But now I want to hold those 10,000 of solid items, rather than 10,000 items that don't sell but once or twice a year. So that's where I'm at. I'm really good in my head. Financially, we're still in the crapper. I still got to get a job. I can't wait to talk to the guy today, let him know how I feel, where I'm feeling it, and progressing to where I can actually level out that financial burden, so that the new stuff that I'm implementing, I can actually start implementing. I have enough stuff here, odds and ends, that I haven't finished yet, that I'm actually being able to test with and see if this new function works. I'm hoping today, I have probably a foot behind my white backdrop, and I have 3 kicker lights when I did portrait photography. So I think I'm going to mount those behind to try to eliminate having to do any kind of post photography. I'll put 2 kickers on the top and 1 on the bottom kicking up, so that will be so bright you won't be able to look at it. And then I'll shoot in front, about 4 foot in front, or 3 foot in front of that backdrop. So hopefully I can get some of that done either today or this weekend. And then wish me luck. I'm hoping we can make quite a bit of money again this weekend at a yard sale. So as always, guys, until next time, peace. Unfortunately, all good things have to come to an end, and here we are. So if you liked the video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you'd like to continue to follow my journey, make sure you subscribe. So until then, I'll catch you on the flip side. Good night. Goodbye. See you later. Toodaloo.